Hey Brick fans, this is Dave from Brick 101, and today I'm reviewing a really cool custom LEGO set, Optimus Prime. This model is fully transformable from the humanoid Autobot robot into the robot in disguise truck. So really cool model. I built this following the instructions from Alexander Jones and Joachim Klang in the book Tips for Kids, Transformer, Cool Projects for Your LEGO Bricks. This book normally retails for about $20 in the United States, but it's often on discount on Amazon. There's a link in the description where you can go to Amazon and order this book if you want to follow instructions to build your own LEGO Optimus Prime. And I wanted to mention that this is our 200th review video here on Brick 101. So thank you very much for continuing to watch our reviews. So let's start off by talking about Optimus Prime in his prime humanoid Autobot form. He looks amazing. They've done a great job making all the details spot on. They've got great sculpting on the head to really capture the look of Optimus Prime without using any custom pieces. Really just a great brick-built head. The body has those simultaneous truck details that also work really well as a torso. The legs work great. There's a lot of posability in this model in the sense that there's lots of hinge joints and ball joints that you can move around to position things differently. Whether or not Optimus Prime is actually stable in those different states is another matter entirely, but once you can get him kind of posed and standing, looks really intimidating. This is a huge Lego sculpture, pretty much taller than anything else I've ever built, and it looks great. And of course, the amazing thing about this model is that it can fully transform into a truck as well, and that truck looks pretty good. I didn't have all the exact pieces they used in the instructions. Even with my extensive Lego collection, there are still pieces I don't have, and they're definitely using some older rare parts for certain things. But I did my best, and I'll try to point out in several instances where I put in other things. But yeah, the truck looks good even with a few modifications on my part. The front doesn't fully kind of fit perfectly together, but this is a fully transformable custom model made out of Lego. It would be crazy to expect it to be a perfect fit like an actual Transformer toy. The mere fact that they were able to do the mechanical engineering with a limited selection of Lego parts in the right colors to make this all work is really quite a huge feat, an accomplishment unto itself. It's something I have never attempted, and I don't plan to, especially after seeing how complicated this build was. The fact that both of these models exist in one, and there's really no part switching out that you need to do. There's just one small piece that you put in to stabilize Optimus in his upright Autobot mode as opposed to truck mode, and that's really it. So let's look at the truck mode a little bit closer. So it can actually roll. The wheels do work. It is actually a truck. I don't know that I had exactly the right tires for the wheels. They seem a bit loose. I'm not really good with cars in general though, Lego or real life. So I think I got the right tires. I know I didn't have some of the right wheels. So the tires do feel a little bit loose, but it does roll back and forth, so that's a nice bare minimum. The front of the truck does tend to fall apart a little bit because it is, you know, Optimus's arms. So one thing you can do to try and add a little more stability when it's in truck form is if you pop off these pieces on the front and replace the two 1x3 tiles with a 1x6, that will just hold these arm pieces that form the bumper together. Falling apart a little bit to do this, but I think it'll help in the end. So yeah, that just gives it a little bit more ability to stay together rather than flying open when it's in truck form, if that's something you care about. But looks nice. Trailer on the back. Yeah, it's a truck. Some places where I didn't have quite the right part that they use in the instructions are this front grille. They used all chrome silver, I believe. I had a couple chrome silver and then a couple in like flat silver and metallic silver. Ditto, this piece on the side was a weird piece I had never seen before. I do have these super rare chrome silver 2x4s, and adding those to some of these 2x2 brick with pin on the bottom filled this spot nicely. They had some other weird piece I'd never seen before in that spot, but this worked pretty well. though now I'm having trouble reattaching. Again, chrome silver I believe they had for the smokestacks, and that piece I used light gray when I couldn't find a silver. These bar pieces were some other kind of bar that I didn't have. They have a really cool piece that's supposed to go on the back and bend down there. I just put in a plate there because I didn't have it. And back here, some of this, I didn't have the exact pieces they were using for the blue slopes, so I had to adjust a little bit there. This is also a round tile in the official build as opposed to a square tile, but I didn't have it, so I improvised. Improvising is always a good strategy when trying to follow a complicated Lego build that you don't necessarily have the official pieces for. That's true in this case, and also for any of my how-to builds that you try to follow. So the book doesn't have a lot of photos of the transformation process. It really only has like 3 or 4 photos, and I had some trouble with parts of how it was supposed to transform, so I'm going to show you step by step what I think is the correct transformation process now that I've done it a few times. So here the back of the trailer splits apart into the 2 legs. There's a little brick with stud on one side and brick with a hole that you can snap together when it's in trailer mode, just so those stay together better. And then you can push this part down when they're going into leg mode. For the feet, they actually swivel out and around back to the front like that. This was a hard part of the transformation for me to figure out because they didn't show a lot of the back of the truck. So I think I initially had them when I transformed it into truck mode. I don't even know. It was wrong. And then those pieces go like that so that they'll become feet. All right, let's stand this thing up. Something you want to do with the feet is angle them forward and that piece back to give some stability. Then, you know, center everything above the ankle as much as you can. Moving on, then you're going to take this whole top piece, rotate it up, and then rotate it fully around. So this is a really important hinge. It's a mixel joint, but it does a lot of work. As you do that, the arms will naturally kind of fall out. This is also the place where you're going to get this little extra piece that you build that has some upward slopes connected by a plate, and put that on the back of the inside of the hips here, I guess you would call this, bottom of the torso. You can also go ahead and rotate these wheels around on their hinges so that they are in the back. So if your arms didn't already like naturally fly out of the sides, you can do that now. And then on each arm, you're going to push this little piece in and then rotate the hinge in like that to reveal the hand. You can also do the click hinge here, down 1 click. And use the mixel joints here to move the shoulders around to the front, kind of like so. And last but not least, you're going to open the hatch here very carefully because that's prone to falling apart, and then pull Optimus's head out, and then you can close the hatch. Just fell apart like I said it might. And carefully reattach that. All right. While we're looking at the back of the legs, here's a couple other places where I had to compromise / improvise with parts. So in the instructions they have this 2x3 with 2 clips and this flag piece in blue. The only blue version I had was this old Ninja version, and it kind of looked weird there. Since these are the back of the legs though, I feel like you can get away with what I did here, dark gray and light gray. It kind of matches the details above and below on the leg. Also, on the foot joint, there's this weird Technic piece, which I couldn't find when I was first building. So I improvised with this other Technic piece plus a T joint connector. Basically fills about the same shape. It's a little bit bigger. It worked, though it also gave me extra posability that was confusing. So find this piece if you can. I stole mine from the TARDIS. Looking up further on the back, these are the wheels that I'm not sure if I have the right tires on. They're always slipping. This is one of the parts that falls off the most for me. The other is this piece on the back here. This is supposed to be red. The way to properly open this hinge is to hold it kind of... Nope, not like that. Let's say I haven't quite figured it out, but you want to hinge it on the hinge and not just move it. For some reason it holds a lot better on the other side than this side for me. Another quick thing to point out here, they tell you to do all of these hinges in here in red, but they're mostly hidden, they're just on the back, so I substituted it in some black and some light gray where I ran out of red. It's a little bit rare to find those pieces in red, I found, so just a tip as you're building. While we're looking at the interior, one last part of the transformation I forgot to do is to push out these doohickeys there. Makes it look a little bit better in the front. This is also a place where I altered their build a little bit for structural reasons. So down here is that hip piece that you put in. Notice here I have a 2x4 brick and then that top of a hinge piece. They had this as a 2x3 brick and then some headlights connected to the top of that hinge piece. And what I found is that it broke consistently along the line where the 2x3 brick was right next to the, whatchamacallit, headlight bricks. And you can't really add any more pieces on top of that for stability because Optimus's head fits in this nook like perfectly. So you have to be very careful about adding anything in there. But I did find that this replacement consistently allowed me to like move the model around with it falling apart less. So that was one tiny improvement I was able to find to structural stability. Couple more notes as we move up to the head. Over here on the shoulder, this is supposed to be a red bracket, but I only had light gray. I think it's relatively unobtrusive. There's plenty of light gray on the model. I also found that adding this 1x2 plate here at the bottom of this stack really increased the stability of the shoulder. It doesn't connect to anything aside the plate above it, but just the friction that it has with the piece underneath it really increased the stability. Before, this whole chunk kept falling off for me every time I was trying to transform or move the shoulder. So just adding a 1x2 in there that added a little more friction at the bottom really helped with that. So I think that's the last of my alternate things I did that you might want to try. Something really cool is that if you open up the chest here, Optimus has his Allspark there. The only Transformers movie I've ever seen is the one from the 80s, so the Allspark is important in that one. I think that's what it's called, the Allspark. I had slightly different windows than they recommended. They recommend this really old school style window as opposed to the new ones that have the connections for shutters. I only had one of these. I think it looks cool, but the new style window works perfectly fine. As I said before, the head is really great, looks amazing. These blue spikes are pretty rare. I had to order an old Ninjago poly bag to get 2 of them. I thought when I first built this, oh, I don't have blue spikes. I'll sub in some other blue spike, like this kind. And this kind looked really good. I had to switch the build of the head a little bit to fit it in, but then it messed up the transformation. They have engineered the transforming parts of this so perfectly that just slightly switching a part can mess it up. So when in doubt with your Optimus Prime, if you don't have the exact piece in the right color, opt for the same piece in a different color because otherwise you risk messing up the transformation. That also applies down here to the hips. This tooth piece is supposed to be transparent yellow, but I only had one, and I thought it would look weird if I had them different colored. I originally was like, oh, I'll just substitute in a 1x2 yellow plate. That'll, you know, fit that spot fine. But again, this piece here is really important, and when it folds up, having enough clearance there. So a 1x2 plate there messes it up. So change the color, not the shape.
Hey, I'm the Megazord. I'm officially sanctioned and produced by Mega Constructs. I'm very stable, but look kinda ugly.
I am Optimus Prime. I am not officially endorsed by Hasbro, nor am I an official Lego set. I fall apart quite easily, but I look really cool when I don't fall apart. And just to give you a sense of the book, it's a really big book. It actually has instructions for a bunch of different Transformers in addition to the massive Optimus Prime model. So there's Arc. I don't think any of the other ones transform, just the Optimus. Nemesis. Transformation Probe. A Mini Optimus. Bumblebee. Who's this? Soundwave. Constructicons. And then the latter part of the book is for the Optimus build. The instructions can be a little confusing to follow sometimes because it goes like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as opposed to being consistently across or down the page. But overall the instructions are high quality. The printing, the colors are all spot on. In addition to the... oh, here's that piece I was telling you about before that I have never seen in Lego. And that's the piece I was supposed to use on the leg that I didn't have. So yeah, in addition to the instructions, they also have a couple pages that go through each of the parts that you need to find, what colors they're in, what their part numbers are, that kind of thing, how many you need of them. So that's really helpful. So when I was building, I used this as a guide to get everything and then actually did my build. So yeah, I think it's a nice book if you're into Lego and Transformers, and if you can find it on a discount. Really great value. I think I've seen it discounted as low as $4 on Amazon sometimes, so definitely check it out. And thank you for watching this video. Please like this video, subscribe to Brick 101, and check out all my other Lego reviews. And let us not forget the dark side of any Lego build is all the other Lego builds that I tore apart, desperately searching for pieces. So farewell to the Brother Plumber Cube Dudes, the Phil and Sherry Cube Dudes, Sans, and that Minecraft armor build that showed up for 1 second in another video. May they rest in pieces.